Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Our first story is from subreddit Am I an A-hole? OP is murky-phil7676 and is asking, am I the a-hole for refusing to help my daughter after her husband's affair, since she supported her mother's affair? I was paying for my daughter's tuition when my ex had an affair. My daughter, Elena, was 22 at the time. She spouted off some BS about patriarchy. She wasn't upset with her mother at all. In the 5 years since, she's still not changed her stance. She seems to think that her mother cheating was some sort of protest vote against female enslavement. My wife had a full-time job. We had a cleaning lady. I did more than half the remaining chores. My ex was far from a slave. Elena's husband left her after 2 years of marriage. No kids, thank Christ. But while Elena was employed full-time, her ex has like 3 times her income. She is unable to maintain her lifestyle on her salary alone. My ex is currently in Australia for 6 months, so Elena called me. I've maintained a cordial relationship with her, but not much beyond that. She said that she is running through her savings and that she needs help while she figures out what to do. I said I would be unable to assist her as my retirement had left me on a fixed income. She said that she knew how much my pension was and that I had savings beyond that. She pointed out that I just bought myself a $100,000 truck. I said that wasn't really her concern, but that I hoped her relationship righted itself. She has been calling everyone to badmouth me. My family all knows how she feels about my divorce. My parents think she is their dumbest grandchild, and that's saying a lot. Her brothers both asked me if I would help if she apologized. I said yes. They told her, and her response was that she had nothing to apologize for. I love the kid, but her head needs a shake if she thinks I'm going to help her out of a mess of her own making. OP's financial situation is none of her business, and she needs to learn to manage her own money. She's 27, so a grown woman. She needs to adjust her lifestyle if she cannot afford to maintain what she had while married. Even if she did apologize, I still wouldn't give her money because she needs to learn to be more financially responsible and independent instead of relying on men for money. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Daughter, I would absolutely love to help you, and you're right, I can most definitely afford it. However, due to your strong stance against the patriarchy, there's no way in good conscience I could give you money, as you absolutely abhor those things that contribute to a society where females are enslaved. Not the a-hole. Everyone sucks here. You should not expect your children to take sides in your own marital problems. You seem to be upset because Elena wasn't upset with her mom cheating on you, but it's not her place to be. It is between your wife and yourself. It is childish and inconsiderate to drag children, albeit adult, into it. Your wife cheated on you, not her. And she probably loves both of you, and it would be awful to put her in a position to have to choose between you. This makes you an a-hole. Elena is the a-hole for this. She said that she knew how much my pension was and that I had savings beyond that. She pointed out that I just bought myself a $100,000 truck. You were right in this. This is really not her concern, and for not figuring how to make ends meet with her own money. And she's the a-hole for badmouthing you. Also, the female enslavement part is weird. Not the a-hole. The real issue here is that she betrayed you too. That she's just as selfish as her mother in your eyes. Her changing or growing up is extremely unlikely. So I kind of understand the way you've been playing this. Basically, you are keeping the peace for appearance's sake, and to keep the lifeline open if she ever actually needs real help someday. As there's a good chance, if she's as narcissistic as you suspect, she cuts you out of her life entirely if she thinks you believe she owes you an apology. You were totally right in not giving her money, even if you did lie about why. You have a good reason to. I think keeping a lifeline open is more important than risking her full estrangement. Just ignore all her duckery online and hope she comes around someday. Maybe she'll surprise you. Our next story is from subreddit Am I an A-hole? OP is thin-sweet 1371 and is asking, am I the a-hole for not attending my daughter's wedding? Little background. I'm a 52-year-old man, and I just recently found out my youngest daughter, who is 22, is getting married. She lives in Washington and works as an elementary school teacher. She doesn't come home often as she has her own life pretty far from where we live. Recently, she came home for her brother, also my son's, baby shower, as he and his wife are expecting their 4th kid. I was happy to see her, but was surprised when I saw a middle-aged man with her. She then told me he was her fiancé. My ex-wife and girlfriend were so happy, as were my kids and my daughter-in-law. I then found out my daughter was marrying a 42-year-old man. I was shocked and automatically did not approve. This man was only 10 years younger than me, and I didn't appreciate the fact of him dating my younger daughter. My family talked to him, and he's a good guy. He's got his own contracting business and makes a lot of money. However, I couldn't shake the thought of this grown man taking advantage of my daughter. I was very uncomfortable, and to make it worse, I found out she started dating him when she was 18. I nearly blew a gasket because all I could think of was my barely legal daughter being taken advantage of by a then 38-year-old man. The next weekend she called me and asked if I'd saved the date for May 25th, as that's when she'd be getting married. She said her fiancé opted to pay for the immediate family's flights to Washington. I told her it wouldn't be a problem, as I wouldn't be attending. She asked why, and I told her I didn't feel comfortable with her marrying a man 20 years older than her. She told me she loved him, and he loved her, and that after they got married, he told her she wouldn't have to work and he'd support her. She decided she loved working and was okay with continuing to work. He was fine with that. I told her I understood all that, but I just couldn't shake the icky feeling of my daughter practically marrying someone who could be her father. She told me she'd be heartbroken if I didn't attend, because she wanted me to walk her down the aisle as she dreamed. While I felt guilty, I stuck to my guns. She hung up on me, and when I got home, my girlfriend asked why I wouldn't attend the wedding, and I told her my reasons. She said that wasn't good enough, and that this was an important day for my daughter. My ex-wife was also angry, as was my other daughter. The only one who sided with me was my son, as he would also not be attending, due to not wanting to see that, as it disgusted him for his younger sister to be marrying an older man, as well as his wife's issue with flying, since she was close to having her baby. Now, as I write this, my ex-wife informed me my daughter was crying her eyes out over the phone, due to my son and I not attending her wedding. She said she didn't want to get married if her brother and dad weren't there, and she actually called the wedding off. After months of planning her dream wedding, she and her fiancé decided to elope instead, then take their honeymoon to Switzerland. I feel terrible, as I know my daughter has been so excited about the wedding she planned. So, am I the a-hole? OP's daughter is an adult about to make a decision she'll probably regret. But I think OP should go to her wedding, stay in her life, and let her know he is always there for her if she needs him. The last thing OP wants is to potentially close off communication with her. And now let's hear the community's opinion. 38-year-old dating an 18-year-old, and kept it a secret from the family till she was 22, and had been persuaded to give up her new career and job after marriage. There wasn't any wedding bells, but OMG, there's alarm bells and red flags all over this. Not the a-hole. Keep an open line of communication available for her, but that relationship does sound worrisome. I would not approve nor be able to support such choices. I'm just not a fan of such extreme age gap relationships, specifically when it's between an established adult and a person who was barely an adult when they started dating. This is a hard one. You're not the a-hole because you do have genuine concerns. Unfortunately, it is one of those things that despite doing the right thing, you get screwed. Give her time. Get to know the new husband. They are married anyway. And always let her know that no matter what, you will be there if this marriage goes to crap. Our next story is from subreddit Am I an A-hole? OP is son bro for sale and is asking, am I the a-hole for telling my wife she's acting like a stereotype? So I have a blended family. By that, I mean I have children by two different women. I have joint custody of the oldest, and I'm married to the mother of the others. So the long story short is that my wife treats our oldest differently than she does our kids. To an extent, I can understand that. You'll always feel something a little extra for children that are your blood. I get it. No problem. Now we get to what my problem really is. My oldest has become a bit of a picky eater over the last 6 months, for God knows what reason. Now, my parents used to do the whole, this isn't a restaurant, you eat what I make or nothing at all, and I tried that philosophy myself. Thing is, that my son is incredibly stubborn like his father. This little dude went on a hunger strike for almost 2 full days, so I caved. I gotta feed the kid for Christ's sake. My wife did not like that, got all types of pissy about it. Months go by, and she has become progressively more annoying about it. My wife has been making a fuss about my son cleaning his room. No problem, I'm on board with that. Problem is that this past weekend, the little ones went into my son's room and tore the place to shreds. Wife then pestered me about making him clean his room. No. You let the kids in there to make a mess. She's a stay-at-home mom. I'm not gonna make him clean up after them. She didn't like that either. Now for the straw that broke the camel's back. As a growing boy, he's starting to develop more of an appetite. My wife recently made a remark about how he's eating all the kids' food. Can you give him something else? That's for the kids. Well, I had it at that point. After we put the kids down for bed, I kinda chewed her out. I told her she was acting like a bee, and it's affecting my son's relationship with her. She used to be my inside man for when he didn't want to talk to me for one reason or another. Now, it's just kind of meh between them. I told her that he will eat whatever the hell he wants. She doesn't get to decide what he is and isn't allowed to have. I told her to fix her attitude, and I'm tired of her BS. He's no less than the other kids, and she needs to get with the program. Well, she did not like that one bit, and she's been pouting for the last couple days. For clarity, this is not the first time I've tried to address the topic, but this is the first time I've really laid into her about it. In my opinion, enough is enough. Am I the a-hole? OP has mentioned in his comments that his wife does the majority of the cooking, cleaning, shopping. It sounds to me like OP's son's picky eating is making things more difficult for her, making more work for her, and that's causing her stress, and that's the real problem here. It's easy for OP to say she's being a bee, when his everyday life isn't being affected the same way by it as hers is. OP mentioned in another comment that she's exhausted, and this might be the first thing that's pushing her over the edge. Borderline calling her a bee isn't going to solve anything. That's only made things worse. Not the a-hole. You did everything right, and your wife has 8 toes over the line into monster a-hole territory. I'm angry for your child, and furious with your wife on your child's behalf. I'm a stepmother too, and I get it's difficult, and you don't feel the same about the your kid as the our kids all the time. But the fact remains that they are all children who need to feel loved, supported, and equal at home. And you do that on the days you'd rather punt them to the moon because they're children. This is the kind of crap that messes kids up for life. Please protect that poor vulnerable little person from your wife. If this is the kind of crap she does that you know of, I cannot imagine all the many things you don't. Everyone sucks here. The way you talk about your wife really sucks. Your attitude is demeaning, and you talk about her as if she were a child. It does sound like she is treating your son unfairly, but the answer here is for both of you to communicate and come to an agreement about parenting decisions, not for her to get with the program. You're the a-hole. You want her to treat your oldest as if she's his birth mother, but at the same time, you tell her she doesn't get to decide what he is and isn't allowed to have. So you expect her to love him as a son, but she's not allowed to treat him like one of her own. You can't have it both ways. You also called her a bee. Our next story is from subreddit Am I an A-hole? OP is ETC throwaway ETC underscore and is asking, am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I find my ex more attractive than her? My wife and I have been married for 6 months. I met her after I had gotten out of a long-term relationship, 4 years, with my ex. Ex and I stayed friends for a few months after our breakup, until I met wife. Our friendship fizzled. After almost 2 years of being in a relationship, wife and I got married. Around 3 months after we got married, wife and I attended a party where we ran into ex. I had not seen ex in over a year, so we spent some time catching up, and I introduced her to wife. Wife seemed to be very taken by ex. When leaving the party, she remarked how different she was from ex. Wife starts following ex on social media. Over the next few weeks, wife starts explicitly copying ex. She starts dressing like her and starts trying to pick up some of her hobbies. For example, ex surfs and does art. Wife starts trying to surf, out of nowhere, and starts painting, doing yoga, etc. She's wearing similar clothes to ex. She becomes a vegetarian like ex. She keeps trying to invite ex over for dinner. I noticed this weird stuff, but I didn't say anything. The straw that broke the camel's back was when my wife cut her hair into a style similar to my ex. It was at this point that I asked her what the hell was going on. I told her that I noticed she was copying my ex and thought that it was weird as hell. She got very defensive and started asking me pointed questions about my ex, mainly suspecting me of being more into her. I tried to explain to her that ex broke up with me years ago and I'd gotten over her. She and I are married, and this crap that she's doing is weird. She responds, "But you found this style attractive when you guys were together." And I said, "It was actually attractive when she did it, because she's being herself." She says, "So you think she's more attractive?" And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I do." We got into a huge fight. I ended up having to leave for the night, and I'm staying at a buddy's house until we have time to talk. He thinks I messed up here, and as I think about it, I can't figure out who is in the wrong. So am I the a-hole here, or is my wife? Well, I was with OP until he said to his wife that he finds his ex more attractive. Never in the history of relationships has telling your significant other that your ex is more attractive ever been a good idea. Your wife is being weird, but it does make me wonder what else is going on that makes her think you admire X so much. You may have subconsciously been making statements and making her feel insecure. She's the a-hole for weirdly changing herself instead of talking to you about her insecurities. You're the a-hole for bringing up comparisons and not just showing your wife that you love her for who she is. You're the a-hole. Way to increase your wife's insecurities by confirming them. She won't ever forget you prefer your ex over her. Everyone sucks here. Your wife needs to stop acting on her insecurities and be confident in herself. But that won't be easy if you say your ex is more attractive. It's fine to say that being authentic is attractive to you, but you crossed the line when you said yes to that last question.